Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me here today. We are moving into May. We are in the Kapha season. Very shortly we will be in the Pitta season, so look forward to another video for transitioning into the heat of the summer. But for now, we're warming up, we're building endurance. We've had our April showers, bringing now May flowers. You may be doing lovely things to inspire you during the Kapha season, like start your garden. I've been growing sprouts. I just started some tomatoes indoors and they'll be ready to move outdoors in a couple of weeks. And I'm gonna give us some other sort of yoga practices that we can add to our routine. As you may notice, I have quite the list of things that I would like to remember and get through. You don't need to remember these things. I'm gonna add them in the notes below. I'll probably link to a blog on this. It's a lot of conceptual stuff, but at the end of the day, our main theme is consistency over intensity. As long as we are doing something on a regular basis, we're in good shape. If we're doing nothing, or every once in a while just running a marathon, nowhere near as much benefit as working these little details into our lives. So, where am I gonna start? I love starting with my tea recommendation for the season. Right now, I have in my little yellow mug that maybe I will be sipping from during our time together to stay hydrated. Lemon ginger, if it's really cold where you are in the morning especially, a crack of black pepper, sounds a little wild, even cayenne can add some nice heat, perk up our energy. Personally, I brew a bag of green and then add lemon, sometimes from a fresh lemon, usually just lemon juice, and then ginger powder. I am fancy enough to crack my black pepper and then just dried cayenne if I'm feeling particularly spicy. Be warned, the cayenne can actually increase your body temperature. I've had it before bed and I literally wake up in the night sweating. So I would probably only do that during the day when you have more ability to regulate your body temperature than at night. My essential oil recommendation for today is rose and cinnamon. So something again kind of naturey, floral, optimistic, kind of sweet and smoothing with the rose, sweet and soothing with the rose, and then the cinnamon makes it a little bit spicy and the scents go pretty nicely together. Okay, what else can we do? So at this time of year, we're gonna be doing actually some quite vigorous movement. According to Ayurveda, one of the recommendations is that if we want an intense workout, one of the best times to do it is during the Kapha time. So Kapha time of day would be first thing in the morning. You know, you're kind of sluggish to get started and then you can really get into it. That's when we have good focus and energy to get into a workout, and then we enjoy the rest of our day. Or the Kapha season, which is springtime. Once we kind of shake off the dull, sedentary feelings of winter and spring, we can get into more intense workouts before the heat of summer hits. So we will see some more pep in our step modifications on the mat today. As always, take what you like, leave what you don't. Remember our goal, consistency, not intensity. So let's do it in a way that you can keep moving without needing to take too many breaks because we want to be consistent. Let's make it something that we will stick to. We'll do some thumping movements because springtime often brings kind of lingering phlegm from the winter season, and then we get our seasonal allergies that hit us. So you might find that first thing in the morning you're waking up really feeling like there's sort of something to work up. And then for some people, they find it's more on the seasonal end of things at the end of the day when they get out for their after dinner walk or something like that. It sort of builds up during the day and the evening feeling more phlegmy. So we'll do some thumping movements to energize and then also on a mechanical level to work up some of that excess wintry phlegm. Okay, our other thing we're gonna do to energize is some sort of body scrubbing. Maybe you've seen this in some of my classes before. Usually we just take a soft fist and kind of thump or scrub on top of our clothing. But one thing that happens often as the seasons change is that we end up needing to exfoliate our skin a lot more. I remember this when I was younger. I worked with a woman. She just had her 50th birthday and she was like, honestly, something happens at the change of the seasons. My skin goes nuts. And I didn't understand what she meant at the time, and now I do. So one of our seasonal recommendations as we move into the warmer months is dry brushing. If you haven't tried it before, honestly, grab any cloth, grab an old shirt that needed to be gotten rid of anyways, anything you have around the house that feels kind of nice on the skin, not too intense. We don't want to harm ourselves. And then if it's too smooth, then we won't get enough exfoliating value. Yes, you can use a loofah, you can use anything else you have in the shower, but this is my favorite use for it. I don't see this in the Ayurvedic literature. Please send me information, comment. I haven't seen this anywhere, but this is just my experience. When I do an intense workout and I am sore the next morning, I am really consistent with my dry brushing. I don't know what it does to get rid of that soreness. I sort of tried to look it up, and some guesses are it's like a nervous system response. Other people say that it's getting your lymphatic system going. I don't know what it is, but if it is true for you that you are increasing your exercise and then the next day you're feeling really sore or stiff, I highly recommend some kind of scrubbing. So actually, let's start with that. If you have a dry brush, I will show you traditional dry brushing techniques. If all you have is some rag from around the house, feel free to just use some rag from around the house. If all you have is your hand, yogi's choice, whatever's more comfortable, a flat but loose palm, or a soft fist. And the reason I say that is because we don't want to be unnecessarily tensing our hands as we do this, or else we're maybe causing some unwanted tension in the body. Okay, so traditionally, what do we do? So we want to do smooth movements towards the center of the body. So we're moving distal to proximal, or from our extremities towards our core. I usually start from the ankles and sweep up. I'll put my foot on the edge of the bathtub. So depending on who you are and where you are in your home, you might need to sit down, you might need to sit in a chair. I don't know how good your balance is, but you can see already that I'm getting balance benefit in my routine, even without intending it. I'm getting coordination benefit. And yeah, we do all the way around the leg, ankle to knee, sweeping up. We could be doing the same thing with our hand or with our rag. Again, sweeping up, getting in the back of the knee. Generally, we go circular around the joints. We can do the bottom of the feet as well, kind of like a scrubbing movement, circular on the heel, and sweeping on the top of the foot as well. We're waking up the whole body with this thing. I usually do one leg and then the other, so I invite you to join me. A little bit trickier. I mean, you notice I wore shorts today because I was planning ahead. We can still get the invigorating value of it on top of our clothes, and a hand does slide a bit better, okay? So if you wore full leggings for today, probably we're doing just hands. If you have some bare skin, we can scrub or use whatever we have at home. There's lots of benefits to exposing the soles of our feet to lots of different textures. So that is where it's good to, have bare feet on the floor, bare feet on the mat, scrub the feet, anything that we can do to expose the soles of the feet to different textures. Stimulates the nerves on the bottom of our feet, makes us less likely to be unable to feel the floor, less likely to fall, and then injure ourselves in that process. Okay, as we're working up, at some point we're gonna run out of skin. We're gonna go on our clothes just with our hands. We can do the same thing. I don't know how much clothing you wear at home. Maybe you've got a crop top on. You can do circular movements on your belly. We can sweep just with our hands. And then when we finally get to our arms, the same idea, sweeping upwards. It's usually too much exfoliation to do the hands, but you might want to. I don't know how much stimulation you want to do hands and fingertips. Very common for us to have loss of nerve sensation in our hands, just like in our feet. So you might like that added stimulation of the nerves. And we just keep sweeping up towards the heart. We can go circular on the elbows. I'm trying not to make too much noise, scrubbing myself as I go through with this because I am recording this. Obviously, you don't have a microphone at home, so you can be quite vigorous, whatever kind of movements you are doing, whatever kind of tool you are using, okay? So no need to follow along with me exactly. You're just sweeping towards the heart, getting stuff going. We could do the same. I like a soft cloth to do the face and the neck. Anywhere we can reach, we can do. Some people really like to scrub in the back and that sort of thing. I'm not gonna scrub on top of my clothes just because it catches on the fabric. It doesn't work that well. So we're gonna put that away for now, and let's do another one of my favorites. We can call them gorilla thumps. We might wanna do them with one hand or both, and exactly as the name sounds, like Tarzan or like a gorilla, down the center of the chest, a nice big thump. For good measure, usually we do 3. So I'll invite you to do 3 with me here. Great big thump. And then one more. Beautiful. Some people do like to do both hands. And then my more favorite gentle variation is to take the fingertips and do some gentle tapping. We can go along the collarbone and down the breastbone, sort of in a T shape or anywhere around there. Again, feel free to go quite vigorous. I'm just trying to be mindful of the fact that the microphone is here, so I don't want to be getting, you know, sound issues from too heavy tapping right near the mic. And then we can do the same thing down the rest of the body. Percussion down one side and percussion down the other side. And I usually do 2 hands down the legs, percussion on both sides of the leg, down one, and then the other. Okay, so we have done all sorts of thumping and stuff. If you do end up doing dry brushing, usually that's done before we get in the shower. We scrub with the dry brush, unclothed, naked, obviously scrub everything, oil everything with whatever your favorite kind of oil is, almond, apricot, jojoba, I don't know what you have at home. Pause and wait, and then get in the shower. We're not gonna shower today, but we are going to pretend that we are applying oil. So we did something really stimulating, and now we wanna balance that with smooth movements. So we don't have oil to smooth on ourselves, but we're gonna do those same smooth movements up the arm, and then I like to imagine sweeping any stress and tension we have off our shoulders. Can let it go. Some people like the Reiki or energy technique of taking the hands maybe through the hair or just up and around the head. Inhale, and then exhale as we release off the shoulders and let the hands go. We'll go a couple more like that. Might feel nice to look up as we reach up. And again, we can sweep on the legs. Generally, in the morning, we sweep in an upward movement, and if you do apply oil before bed, we sweep in a downward movement. Okay, we've invigorated, we've soothed. Let's bring ourselves into more of a steady place with breath and movement. Let's circle sweep here, inhaling up, exhaling down. Let's check out that range of motion in our shoulders. Noticing how we're feeling in our physical body. Noticing how our energy level is right now. Let's bring hands to heart, and we'll go ahead and step wide on our mat. So if you were stepping narrow, we're gonna step wide, maybe turning sideways on your mat. I don't know how you are situated at home. And we're gonna go up and out, making our bodies in the letter X, and then bending elbows and knees together. Let's spread our fingers wide to activate the muscles of our hands and wrists. Another common issue that we get if you are increasing exercise at this time of year, feeling, you know, inspired, springtime, more energy, we might get discomfort in our wrists, and one way that we can build the muscle is simply by activating, spreading our fingers apart. Sometimes we call them starfish hands. Instead of gentle fingertips, activating the musculature of the hands and wrists. Any kind of weightlifting will help too, because we're strengthening the muscle in a fist position. So even just a little bit of weightlifting, bicep curls I like to recommend, because we don't do any kind of bicep movements in yoga. So it's a nice complement to add that range of motion, and then grip strength from holding a weight. Fantastic complement to our yoga work is simply adding bicep curls if you have weights at home. All right, let's turn our toes more forward, a little bit more forward, and we're gonna hip hinge forward. So you don't have to turn all the way forward, we'll keep it comfortable, but we're gonna chop ourselves in half, folding forward, and then reaching up. So we have sort of this heaviness in the legs, and then lightness in the upper body, loosening up our hamstrings. And this is gonna be a common theme, talking about increasing exercise as spring is here. And then things we need to be mindful of as we increase exercise. So usually tension down the back of the legs is a common one. So guess what we're doing? Gentle flowing, stretching the back of the legs. Okay, last one here. Let's reach all the way to the top. Bring hands back to heart center. If you've turned side, you can turn to the top of the mat. Bring in our feet together, and we'll do, as promised, this thumping movement. Like I keep saying, I'm avoiding doing it too aggressively because it's gonna pick up the noise on the microphone, but you know how it works at home. So let's cup our hands, and we're gonna thump all over the rib cage. So if we know a little bit about anatomy, we know already our lungs are in our torso, right? So just keep cupping and thumping wherever you feel drawn to do so. Front, back, side, working with however much you have available. I don't know how much excess tissue you have on your body that makes it feel less comfortable to be thumping. If you're very slender, it's easier to feel that contact from the ribs. So let's just appreciate and respect our bodies. Whatever we look like, we can still get that vibration forming inside. Because our lungs, our chest, our throat, all this stuff that contains mucus, we know is inside this area of the body. And that by creating that shaking of our body, thumping against our chest, we might loosen it up. Some of you might already notice that you feel the need to hack something up. Just embrace the phlegm. You might feel better higher, might feel better lower, more front, more side, whatever it may be. Let our bodies be our guide. We can stay here with this kind of cupped hand thumping. Some of us might be more comfortable. Fists, might want to go faster, might want to go slower. If we would like to go, I think, a more, fitness variation, we can keep our fists and thump the elbow or the tricep underarm into the rib cage. So again, let's keep in mind our range of motion. We did those circle sweeps earlier. If you felt, ooh, maybe the shoulders aren't so happy today, we could skip this version. If we feel we really want to go for it, we can do a big punch up high and an aggressive thump into the rib cage. Okay, so I'm very cautious with this type of movement. I think it's always better to do not enough and then tomorrow think, oh yeah, I really could have whacked myself harder, than to do too much and then tomorrow you can't even lift your arms. So I think our goal, consistency over intensity. Let's go cautious rather than aggressive. Makes me sleep better at night to know that we held back a little instead of overdoing it. Okay, whatever variation we're doing, give it a couple more, and then we are done. Let's again circle sweep, smooth, flowing movement. Get back in with how we're feeling. Just checking in. If we do feel the need to cough or hack, or as I am doing, drink, let's do it. And then we'll turn sideways on our mat, and we'll keep adding this theme of bouncing and percussion. Any kind of bouncing, thumping, vibrating is great to kind of wake up our lymphatic system. True to the nature of Kapha season, Kapha is anything like really fluid related. So that's our lymphatic system, a little bit sluggish, just like the summer, or just like the springtime is slow to get going. Mornings are slow to get going. Kapha people are slow to get going. Our lymphatic system is the same. Okay, we are in a plie squat or a sumo squat, whatever you know it as, sun pose, moon pose. We've been holding just an isometric with the knees bent to work our strength. And we're gonna go ahead and start by bouncing our shoulders. So again, I find this more of a cautious variation to start some bouncing in the body. It can feel really nice to loosen up the neck. Some people feel more comfortable going more slowly, one shoulder at a time. Other people like to drop them both together, but really heavy, like overcooked noodle arms. If we want to add on, our heels can go with it. Sometimes it's a coordination challenge, and we can go quite aggressive if you really want to, but we don't have to. We could do much more gentle little bounces. Okay, we've been here a little while. If you love this one, if you feel really sluggish, you could keep going with it a bit longer, but I want to give us the option to pause simply by taking our hands to our thighs. We're dropping a little lower. Honestly, one of my favorites to do in my aerobics classes, my yoga classes, my morning routine, anything with that kind of bouncing energy to wake us up and sweep off some of the sluggishness that might come when we first start to exercise. Okay, we're switching to one side. So I'll do that as part of a warm-up. Honestly, if I'm feeling tired before going for a walk or something like that, I'll add in a little bit of bouncing, kind of perk myself up, and then I'm ready to go. Okay, let's come back in the center. We'll straighten both legs, pressing back. Sort of like a cow pose here. We don't want to be tucked under in our back. We want to lengthen the chest. What have I heard people say before? Blossom the buttocks. Mayflowers, it's on theme. Okay, we're gonna step to the top of the mat. We're gonna do something quite energetic and then something more smooth. So bear with me as we layer on our various options. Let's start with hands to hips. Thinking grounded, centered, lots of core power, lots of power in our hips. We're gonna alternate a step back into a short warrior one. So we're gonna start steady, we're gonna add that pep, and then we're gonna come back to something steady. Again, this mix of something heavy and solid in the lower body and something uplifted in the upper body. Inhaling up and then releasing fingertips back to our ribs, being aware of our lungs and our rib cage, honoring the Kapha time of year. I like to think Kapha time of year is that we might feel heavy in our lungs or that we can't quite take a deep breath, or maybe we're feeling inspired or even craving cardio, that we're like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm ready to get out of breath in a way that we do not feel in the winter. Maybe this clicks with you, maybe it's nothing like your experience. Either way, doesn't matter. We're just noticing how we're feeling and we are moving into springtime. If we're feeling warmed up, we can add bigger steps, or I will give us the option for a little hop. So I usually start the hopping with no arms. Maybe we're taking our hands to in front of our hearts, and we're gonna take one foot front, one foot back, and we're gonna hop and switch. Maybe it's been many years since you have done any sort of hopping and it feels really out of place, or you even feel like you kind of have to prep yourself and then get going. Or maybe you're one of my students who does a ton of cardio classes and you're just ready to go for it. But wherever we are, let's add at least a little bouncing, even if we're not doing full hopping. Okay, I'm gonna do some big hops so we know what our options are. Feel free to join me. We'll do several more, and then we know that smooth movement is coming, don't we? Okay, let's do just one more. We'll step our feet together. We can roll those shoulders out. And then let's step our right foot back. So we'll all be on the same side. Our right foot back can come into warrior one. And I'll mirror you for this time through. We're gonna turn open into warrior two. So we take some space between the front and back foot. We'll give our shoulders a little break in side angle. So let's take left arm, turn left leg. And then we'll draw some big circles with our right arm, holding steady here in a variation of side angle pose. Maybe we want to inhale as we reach, exhale as we release. Okay, our next big circle brings us up to standing, and let's reverse our warrior. So we still keep our warrior two legs, but then we're lifting our left arm. Take a big breath in. We're reaching tall, and then we can lower a little bit more. Again, working in two directions. Heavy lower body, light upper body. We'll come back through center. And we'll go ahead and step right to the top, and we'll switch to the other side. No fancy transitions. We're ready to take our left foot back and open into warrior two. So I'm not gonna mirror you this time. I trust you, we'll figure it out. Let's take our hands over our feet, pausing in our warrior two, settle in, feeling good I hope. and our side angle pose. So front arm to front leg. In this case, it's going to be right arm to our right thigh. Our left arm is free for our big circles. Inhaling up and exhaling, releasing down. Heavy lower body, grounded into the earth. Channeling the energy of our plants, sprouts, vegetables that are growing, rooting down, and then rising up nice and light. Just like sprouts, when we see them grow, or flowers, when we see them grow, we know they have that deep, strong root system, but they look so delicate above the surface, don't they? We can be like that as well. Bending down, stretching up. Okay, one last round of breath in and out. Back to the top of the mat, step our feet together, no fancy transition, and then wherever we are, we can turn sideways on the mat. Let's do a variation of tree pose, but we're gonna flow to again bring in that steadiness, groundedness, heavy earth energy. Let's start with hands at heart center, and we'll move side to side. So we're gonna step side into tree pose, and then we switch to the other side. And then we have the option to add breath to movement. So generally, in yoga, we inhale as we lift, and then exhale as we lower. You might find it easier to do the breath backwards, or to include more pauses for yourself. But as long as we are working on our balance, focusing our minds, we're in good shape. We're gonna bring our heart rate down maybe a little bit from that Warrior 2 series, because we're going to take it to the floor. Okay, last one each way. Let's do chest expansion here. So we'll step to the top of our mats. We'll reach palm to palm in behind, lifting hearts, lifting eyes. We can interlace if we like, but we know we don't have to. Punching our arms down, and we're gonna continue punching in this direction. If we like, we can add our forward fold here with maybe really bent knees. Maybe we like them straighter, that's up to you. We can let the head hang nice and heavy. We could be shifting our weight front and back on our feet to see where we feel most solid and grounded. We can go ahead and release our hands. And let's make our way back into child's pose. Maybe you prefer downward dog, depending on how we're doing today. Bringing ourselves down to the earth. Let's check in with how we're feeling. Taking a couple deep rounds of breath. Maybe noticing a stretch in the underarms or the back. We'll come to lie on our bellies. One of my favorites, because we have maybe been slouching a lot in the winter, or especially if we've been cold in the winter, we really tighten up in here. So I like to incorporate, and I know I should do it more often, and I really don't, some back extension. Honestly, we should probably all be doing back extension every day if we're able. And as I say, if we're able, if we're not able, we can stay in this tabletop position instead, working on a neutral spine. If we're able to come down to lie on our bellies, maybe we're propping ourselves up on our elbows or using our fingertips for support. We could also be pressing the tops of the feet down to, again, have this lower body stability, feeling heavy, rooted, but then light through the upper body. Crown of the head stretches forward. If we want to release our hands by the sides of our thighs, we can, stretching fingertips towards our heels. And another variation would be make sure that we are stretching the legs back, but if they want to lift up a little bit, they can. So we're not just trying to lift as high as we possibly can, we're trying to stretch first. The lengthening to stretch straight as an arrow is more important than the lift. And then yogi's choice to reverse out of this. We might like child's pose, cat and cow, or like we already did, maybe we like a tabletop. I personally like to come into more of a neutral spine, but lots of people like to move through cat and cow variation or child's. Feels like a reset to the spine. After we move it in our back bend, it can feel nice to move it into a neutral or rounded position. We have a variation of, again, another lymphatic thing. So we already pumped our arms. We'll do a more gentle way of pumping our legs. There are, for the record, more aggressive ways of doing leg pumps, but I like to work with something more gentle to give us a break at the end of our classes, right? We don't want to just be running all day. We need to weave moments of pause throughout our day, including throughout our yoga classes. So we're lying on our backs. We can draw knees to chest. And instead of thinking of it as alternating the legs, let's think of it as pumping the legs. So we hold one leg, knee to chest. As we extend the opposite one, it can hover or it can rest on the floor. So if we want to do a really gentle variation, we could even hold our pant leg of our close leg or the back of the thigh. The idea being that as we are pressing the backs of the legs together, does that make sense? As we're pressing the back of the calf into the back of the thigh, we're compressing our lymph nodes in the back of the leg and the back of the knee, stimulating them, saying, hey, wake up, it's springtime, let's go. And then we do knees to chest and switch. So since I'm going more in the realm of perky movement today, how about we point our feet and we call them leg pumps? Alternating one side and then the other. Pumping, really using that upper body, pulling in. I already talked a little bit about our biceps today. This is really one of the only things we do in yoga that works our bicep, is when we pull our leg into our chest. We'll keep going with this theme. Both knees into chest, a variation of waterfall. So let's flex our feet this time. We're gonna flex to extend and then just release the legs. We could think of it more as a pumping, really extend, like really tense our leg muscles as we straighten them. And instead of just flopping them back down, keep it a controlled movement. So we're controlled all the way through the range of motion. As we extend, as we release, what can we do with our hands? We can have them on either side of the body. Again, thinking about reversing our slouch, we can press the back of the shoulders down into the mat, activate the upper back. We can tuck our chin, slide our shoulder blades towards the floor. Okay, let's bring knees to chest. We're gonna plant our feet and come into a twist. Let's take our hips a little bit closer to the right. As we twist, we're gonna stack our knees towards the left. So a gentle supine twist. You may know a more fancy variation of a twist that you like. Another one that I love is to cross the legs instead before we twist. So we take our right leg over our left and then come into our twist, getting a stretch for the outside of the right leg. Again, something that really tightens up at this time of year. It can be nice to rest our hands on our bodies, again, to think about our breath. We can feel the movement in our rib cage. We're open to tea. Give it a couple more rounds of breath here. Use a little bit of core strength to come back up through center. And then your choice. As we recenter ourselves, we're gonna take our hips a little more to the left. We could just let our knees knock to the right, or if we like that, sort of like we're sitting, I don't know, on a bar stool or whatever. We take left leg on top and then twist to the right. Maybe we have hands on ribs, again, to focus on that energy of the lungs, feeling full, expansive breath. We'll use a little bit of core strength to come back through center. We haven't really done any stretches for the front of the hips here. So let's take arms alongside the body, again, engaging the strength in the upper back. Maybe we're walking shoulder blades underneath our back, pressing the back of the shoulders down. We're gonna press our feet down to lift our hips into bridge. And for today, let's just pause. Holding here. Might be some fidgets or something we want to move or adjust while we're here. Again, we might feel a stretch through the front of the ribs or a heavy weighted strength in the lower body. We'll go ahead and lower down, and let's let our knees fall open into sleeping butterfly. Again, maybe we're bringing our energy back to our ribs. We can take our hands and place them on the lowest part of our ribs to feel the expansion of our breath. And I'll give us some time here to count our breaths. So it is a traditional yogic technique to give our minds something to do, simply to count 10 rounds of breath. I'll give us some time here to count our breath. Inhaling 10. Exhaling 10, inhaling 9, and so on until we run out of numbers. Maybe we lose our place, we start again, it's all good.
So dense with fruits so ripe, our love is a forest walk, enchanted and twined as we meet in silent talk.
Now, if we're comfortable in our sleeping butterfly, we can stay here. We may prefer a more traditional relaxation, like a starfish, spreading arms and legs wide. Now, one of the qualities of Kapha is love, devotion, and loyalty. So we might actually like to cross our arms over our chests, giving ourselves a hug, or just, mentally, emotionally sending ourselves some love. We're gonna do a brief meditation, sending love to all parts of our bodies and ourselves. Let's take into our minds our entire body, feeling the entire body at once. And then notice the energy of our hearts. noticing the physical space of our heart and our chest, seeing if we can tune in to the beating of our hearts. Our hearts never give up, never stop providing life-giving energy. Let's send some love to our hearts here. Moving that energy to our lungs and our rib cage. Maybe we can hold our breath, but our lungs also don't really take much of a break. Sending love to our lungs for always breathing. Drawing in life force energy with every breath. And in a way, the practice of breathing is a practice of receiving and letting go. So let's acknowledge that with our next breath, sending love to our lungs. Sending our mind's eye down the length of our arms, sending love to our arms, right out to the tips of our fingers. This love can feel like appreciation, gratitude, acceptance, acknowledgement. Even just noticing this area as a way of bringing light to it. And let's send our energy down into our torso, all of our digestive organs, the inner working of our bodies, all of our mysterious inner organs, whatever they're up to right now, seeing if we can sense that movement and energy, sending appreciation to the entire trunk of the body, down into the pelvis and the hips. Continuing to send it down the length of each leg, all of our joints in our legs, our ankles, our feet, our toes, our legs that carry us everywhere. Our legs provide a foundation for sitting. Bringing our awareness back up to our neck, face, head, ears, eyes, our brains, another mysterious organ. Maybe aware of our thoughts, our mental energy. And sending love to everything from the shoulders up. If there were any parts of the body that are particularly difficult to send love to, just holding them in our awareness here. We don't need to brush it away or try to paint it with a different lens of experience, just noticing that difficulty and allowing for that experience in the experience of our bodies as well. Sometimes we get hung up on one body part or another, or we have a story or a history that can bring us pain, doesn't feel very loving. Just holding that in our awareness or in our hearts. Giving ourselves a little pat on the back, saying, okay, I notice, I'm here. And then zooming out the entire body, head to toe, noticing the physical body, saying thank you to the physical body for everything that we're able to do. Thank you to our breath, our heartbeat, our energy levels, our thoughts and actions that carry us through the day. Saying thank you to yourself for being here and participating in this work today. no need to get up or go anywhere or move or do anything. But our time together is up. Thank you so much for joining me here today. From my light to yours, namaste.